Broadcasting from the business capital of the world.
Have you ever wanted to tell them something? Welcome. We have lots to talk about today, and then she is definitely somebody who provides answers as a psychic communicator. And I'm skeptical like anybody else until I started talking with her and realizing how she has helped me to connect with my animals, how she's told me things about them that there's no way anybody else would have known. Today, we're gonna look at some of those things that happen in an animal's life that we wonder what they're thinking, how they're dealing with certain situations. And these are pretty common situations and examples that we're gonna bring up. Great to have her back here. She has psychic ability as well, whether it comes to humans or animals. And just love her. Shirley Scott back on the program. How are you today?
I'm great. Steve, how are you doing?
Real good, real good. And this whole animal communication thing, we've established that you do it, you can help others with it, you can even help teach it to people as well. But we've never really talked about some of those things that our animals go through, and we wonder what they're thinking. Like, for example, when an animal needs to get fixed, pretty major surgery going on there, life-changing. If you are a human, it would be life-changing. What are they thinking? What are they thinking with that surgery?
Okay. Well, animals look at mating a lot different than we do. There's only a couple of other species on planet Earth that mate for fun or enjoyment. One is dolphins, and I do believe there is a monkey tribe that does. But most of the time, it is in their DNA for survival. And so it's more of a panic situation of I've got to keep the species going. And it's usually not fun for either one of them, to be honest with you. But once an animal is fixed, either spayed or neutered, it takes away this almost panic drive that they live in all the time. And it will keep them safer, for one thing, because a male dog can smell a female dog in heat almost 2 miles away without wind. And so, and that's their instinct to go to that, of course. But when we fix them, we're keeping them safe and we're letting them relax because they don't have the drive again to go, I've got to keep my species going and I've got to do this and do this. And, even most breeders, by the time an animal is 5, they're done breeding them because they've had so many hormones running through them. Sometimes the animal will become aggressive, not always, or they will start getting cancers, and other things can go wrong with them because of the hormone levels that have been in their body for so long. And so fixing an animal has nothing to do with a sex drive at all. It has to do with a survival drive. And when they are spayed or neutered, they can relax again. They can be okay with themselves and with the world around them, and they don't have to be in this panic of I gotta go mate, I gotta go do this, gotta go do this. And so they look at it so much differently than we do, and it just makes them actually a better animal in the long run because they can relax and they don't have to be in survival.
Wow. I'm trying to process that. So you're saying that having that surgery to fix an animal is actually beneficial overall?
Yes.
Wow.
Yes,
wow.
It is. Yeah. And, a lot of times if you don't fix them, an accidental breeding can be really, it can kill a female actually if the mate that she bred with is not, is too big or maybe too small, and they don't look at it that way. It's only, if they're in heat that, they're looking to mate, and it's definitely just survival. And you see a lot of feral cat communities that aren't fixed, that the mother and a son will breed because they don't, there's no classification there actually. It's just a smell and their hormones get kicked up, and that's why some cats have 5 or 6 toes. That is an interbreeding thing, And there are some cats that their feet don't even work right because they're interbred with a mother, a daughter, whatever. And so fixing animals is really beneficial to them and to any offspring that they will have. In the wild, most of the time, they're more careful, like wolves and stuff, because a lot of wolves will mate for life, and there are some species that'll mate for life, so there's not a lot of interbreeding, but cats do not, and so there's that, and they'll kick some, like the kittens get kicked out sometimes, and they will, luckily go find someplace else to live, and they won't be in that same feral community, but fixing animals is very important. And if we look at how many dogs and cats, just dogs and cats, are on Earth, well, let's just do the United States. If every cat and dog in the United States that was in a shelter right now, if every human in the United States adopted one animal, there'd still be almost 1 million of them that wouldn't have homes.
Because you can communicate with animals, what are they thinking when they're having that surgery? The surgery is done, whether it's spayed or neutered. Are they truly aware, thinking, oh, well, something's different. Oh, this is a good thing. This is going to be, now I don't have to worry so much about that instinct.
Yeah, they don't think about it in exactly those terms. They know they went in and they had an operation, okay, and there's a little bit of pain, but there's usually not a whole lot of pain contributed with this, not like with humans. But in a few weeks, they just feel more relaxed, and they don't understand, oh, my hormones have been, taken away and all of this. They just know that they feel a lot better. And most of the time, it'll take sometimes a week to 2 weeks for all the hormones to get out of their body. And then you'll start noticing this difference. But they just sort of notice, like, they don't have the urge to run away. They don't have, the urge to fight over, a smell that makes them want to mate. So they just sort of kind of relax into it, I'm going to say. They don't actually know what happened to them.
Tell me some of the other things that you get through your communication with animals that gives us answers. Like, this is one I never even thought about, wondering what they're thinking during after being spayed and neutered. How about some of the other situations in everyday life that come up with our animals that we maybe wonder what they're thinking?
There's so many. Animals too will, they remember pain, but when they're out of pain, it's kind of like us. I kind of relate with the way animals look at pain. If you break a leg, it hurts, and then you fix it, and you don't think about it anymore until it hurts again. If you break it again, or you remember it in a different way. And animals kind of do the same thing. They will remember things that happen to them, and they kind of put it in a box over here until something reminds them of it. And then, some animals have PTSD from loud noises, and they think about those things, but not probably as often as we do, because animals live in the present moment. So, they can be, just hopping along, doing everything, and then a loud noise hits, and at that moment, it reminds them of maybe a past experience that scared them to death. So they live so much in the present moment that they think about what they're doing right now. So, and like if an animal goes in and gets fixed, and, 2 weeks from now, they're not going to remember it, they're not going to feel anything about it, other than they feel better within themselves. They've got, this relaxation of, I don't have to worry about, going and breeding and continuing my species. So that they live so much in the present moment that you have to take animals like right now, like this is it. I was just watching a clip on YouTube a minute ago where this golden retriever was sitting in the passenger seat of the car, and his owner had taken him to the groomer, and he was mad because he doesn't like to go to the groomer. And he sat there and looked straight forward, and she could not get him to look at her. And finally, he gave her one of these side glances with the eyes and then looked ahead. And you could read his, and she said, yep, he's mad. And you could read it. And so, he was living in the present moment of, I am mad at you because you took me to the groomers.
Wow.
And then, 10 minutes from now, they'll forget about it. They'll be like, okay.
Now, what about, and this is a classic one and a challenge for animals, fireworks, right?
Yep.
What are they thinking when they hear these loud noises go off?
Most animals, and there are some that it doesn't bother, there are, and you can train animals you can desensitize them. It takes a while, but you can desensitize them to that. But most animals, it hurts their ears because, animals have better hearing than we do by a far shot, hundreds of times better. So if it hurts our ears, just imagine what it's doing to theirs. But seeing these bright things in the sky coming, it's like it's coming at them, and it's, I say it's like Chicken Little saying the sky is falling, because they're seeing these bright things coming at them, and they're falling into the sky, and they don't know what they are. And, they're huge to them. I mean, they're big to us, but, it's just like the whole sky around them is falling. And the noise behind them just shatters their hearing, and, it shakes their head and their body. And, of course, they're going to go hide because they really think that, they're being bombed or, life is coming to an end. Yeah.
And how do we can't change what our neighbors are doing. How do we support our animals in a situation like that?
If they can go into a room and you can turn on the TV a little louder or music, most animals love music, and you go in and turn the radio up, and if you can, just kind of go in and sit with them and talk to them while there's music. Try to get the sounds as far away from them as you can, or in the background, so that they are focused on you and they're focused on the music and they're focused on that and not focused on this banging, banging, banging that they hear outside.
What about somebody like a child who cries? What are they thinking at that time? You could even have a baby, a newborn.
Mm-hmm.
Baby's going to cry. Does the animal, based on your communication with them, know what's going on?
Most of the time they do, and it's funny because animals will react to children in a couple of ways, because children are pretty ungrounded most of the time, and their energy is all over the place, especially crying. A lot of animals will just look at the baby and walk away because they know it's sort of like, puppies crying or kittens crying. It's like, yeah. And they'll go up once in a while and they'll lick them and try to get them to be quiet because they know that whatever this baby is crying about, it reminds them of the litter, and it reminds them of crying in the litter. And so most animals will understand that this is an offspring too, because if you have an animal while you're going through a pregnancy, they smell your hormonal changes. They will smell the baby in your stomach. They, if you let them feel the baby kick, they will smell all of this. So when the baby actually comes, they already know sort of what that baby is going to smell like. They already know that, that's a puppy, sort of,
Wow.
And so most animals, the jealous ones will walk away. The jealous ones are like, I want attention. I don't want attention from the baby. But many animals will love up to that baby because it's like the pack has grown.
I'm fascinated in knowing that. So they know the baby, there's a new baby coming. They already know.
They already know. They many times, and I've been told this by my clients, their dog told them they were pregnant before they knew it, because the dog will go up to them when they're just a few weeks pregnant, and they'll start smelling their belly, and they'll nudge them. They'll start smelling them. So yeah, animals can smell pregnancy, absolutely, and they know the baby's coming.
So along that point, it's been said quite a few times that there are animals that can sniff out cancer. They just know something's going on. Is it just because of their sensitivity? How do they know that it's something to be alerted about, i.e. cancer?
Because it smells wrong.
Hmm.
It smells wrong. All animals can smell cancer. The ones that we train to smell cancer are the ones that we put, cancer down, and we want them to alert to it. So we train them to alert to it. A lot of animals will alert to it. Like I've had cats sleeping on women's breasts that have breast cancer, or even a dog that will go up and keep nudging a woman's breast because it smells to them unhealthy. It's something is off there. And so when they smell it, they want to alert you to it. But all animals can do that, every single one of them. And it's sort of a death smell to them.
Wow. It's fascinating. And if they don't know what to do with the smell, it just kind of stops there. That's why when they're trained, they identify, oh, this is a smell, this is a bad smell. I need to alert somebody, my owner, my person, whatever it might be.
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah, and a lot of my clients have, they'll call me and they'll say, okay, I don't know why my cat wants to sit on my lap all the time now. Never wanted to sit on my lap before. Why is that? And I'll get in touch with them and I'll say, oh, you're on new medication. And they go, how did you know that? And I said, because you smell different. Because animals can smell our medication, especially high blood pressure medication, and if we change it. And so what they want to do is this cat was trying to tell her, you smell different, and I'm trying to heal you.
How about some of the other things that our animals may be aware of, but we don't know what they're thinking? Yeah, and I'm talking about the typical life kind of things that are going on.
Well, they're always aware of weather changes, for one. They are aware of basically animals, even when they're sleeping or not really sleeping most of the time. And they're aware of everything you're doing. And when we think, well, I'm going to go for a walk with them, but you don't even say it, many of them will get that telepathic message. So they know what's going on in our life. If you're having a fight with your husband or girlfriend or whatever, they know that. They know it, they feel it, they sense it because of the energy. And it doesn't even have to be yelling. They just know that you're upset. And they can smell it through the pheromones, or they feel it in your energy. They're very aware of everything that goes on around them, because if they were out in the wild, they have to be, or they could get eaten.
We often don't remember that, but they are animals, and this comes as part of their natural instinct. They have to have these abilities.
They have to. They have to know what is going on around them all the time. Now, many times a cat will be so fixated on a mouse or something, it won't hear a car, because they are just in that moment. And if they run out in front of a car, it's because they're fixated on something and they don't actually hear it. Most of them know, though, oh, there's a coyote around me. I need to exit stage left here, because they can smell a coyote, especially if it's, if the wind's blowing the right way. Sometimes they can't because the wind's not blowing the right way, and the coyote can sneak up on them. But they are so aware of what's going on in their world, even from birds flying over them. If you watch them, they'll look up and they'll watch a bird fly over them to see where a bird's going. But, the animal kingdom is not Walt Disney.
It's pretty serious stuff.
It's very serious stuff. Yeah. And they can get, killed in a heartbeat, because it really is a, dog eat dog type world out there for them. And so they have to be just extremely aware of what's going on around them. And that's why a lot of times, animals won't come to you when you call them and you're thinking, well, I'm going to help them. They don't know that all the time. They have no idea. And if you're thinking, well, I'm going to help them by catching them, boy, they get it. It's like, you're not going to catch me. What do you mean you're going to catch me? They don't get the help as much as the confinement picture that you send them.
So when you have an animal in your life, they're in your world, they're part of your family. Do they get to a point where they kind of chill out a little bit and they're not always, on guard, if you will?
Yeah, they
Okay.
do. And it's called trust.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. And a lot of times that you can raise your hands over your head, or you can, do your hand motions, and if they don't trust you, they would run. And, a lot of times they'll look at, if I do that or I'm dancing around the house, my animals look at me like, oh God, she's at it again, and they go back to sleep. But there's a trust, and you have to build that trust, just like they build trust with each other.
Well, going back to a situation I told you about a few weeks ago, where I had a cat that got injured, needed to be, loosely put, saved. The cat was in a compromised position. I came downstairs and got them out of this situation. I feel exactly to what you're saying, that cat, one of two in our home, now trusts me even more, because the cat is the mushiest, super loving, never was like that. I can walk up and kiss it on its head. I've never been able to do that. And I believe that now that fostered trust, during that scary situation. It was scary for both of us, actually.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And, and animals, when you do something like that, learn to trust you. In my house, I have 4 cats and a dog. And I had a cat that just passed away not too long ago, and he was the bully, you want to say. Okay, he kind of kept everybody in line, and once he was gone, all the other cats are coming out of their shell now, and they are, they, for a long time they kind of walked around and looked around the corner, and and I had to really watch him, and now he's gone, and they are all kind of like, yay, he's gone. And they are much more at ease. And so animals need to learn to trust other animals, too. And sometimes they can't.
Yeah, I realized that, having a dog and 2 cats. Had the dog, introduced the 2 cats about 2.5 years ago. It was a little dicey in the beginning, but not, as you might think. But now, they don't even... They'll be hanging out on the same couch. There's no issues whatsoever. Fascinating, Shirley. Yeah. What you bring to light here. And next time we get together, I would love to dig into some of your books in detail. You have a bunch of them on your website. A lot of questions about there. Even the Talking Dead fortune telling.
Yeah.
We'd love to talk about that one, too. Best way to find you is your name, and make sure I have this right, shirley-scott.com. Is that it?
That's it. That's it, Steve. Yeah.
You're amazing, and I truly mean that.
Thank you.
And it's not just, and this would just be perfectly fine, the communication aspect, the mediumship aspect, but the fact that you know so much about animals of all different types, domesticated, wild, blows my mind. More than anybody I know, more than a health professional. I mean that. Like, I would call you first if I have an issue with one of my animals before I would call a vet. And I'm not even kidding, because you've been there. You've been around the block.
Yeah. And I love vets, and a lot of people do call me first. And it's amazing that I'll pin something down, and then I say, now take him to the vet.
Yeah.
And they do. They take them in. It's amazing.
It's almost like, a tip-off to what you can expect when you go to the vet.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying you replace a veterinarian,
no.
But you give insight in many areas that a medical professional can't or might not give you, first of all, because they don't communicate with animals. Thank you so much for being here today. Really appreciate it.
Thank you, Steve. And I look forward to our next one, and we'll
here.
talk about my book.
You got it. All right, we'll be right back.
Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
Adopt US Kids presents Multiple Choice Parenting.
Your daughter just had her first breakup. Do you A, put yourself in her shoes?
How could he do this to you? And for Sheila, she has split ends.
B. Console her.
Oh, sweetie, this is going to happen a lot. 4, maybe 5 more times before you get married.
C. Take charge.
Got to get this all straightened out. Give a little talking to, man to man, mano a mano. Hey, Steve! Is now a good time? No? Okay, no problem. Bye.
Or D. Help her find a new boyfriend.
I know a great place to meet boys. The internet. Nice, single boys. Never mind. How about some ice cream?
As a parent, there are no perfect answers. But you don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will love you just the same.
For more information on how you can adopt, visit adoptuskids.org. A public service announcement from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.